One of these actually gets sent up to George Washington. Remember, he's not in this room when they're declaring independence. He's busy. He's got a war to fight. He's up in New York. So they send one of these up to him to read to the troops up in New York. Continental Army's up there. And you can imagine that day. And they're all gathered up in New York reading the Declaration of Independence. And do you know what their view was that day? I mean, these guys, they are looking out on the greatest armada the 18th century has ever seen is amassed in New York Harbor. And you got this ragtag
soon as you exit, we're